and let us all do we can to build a better future.
Shout out to Ryan Knight, Jackson Hickle, Richard Medhurst, and so many others that caught this wonderful gem on social media. Now, we reported on this at least, I believe, a week and a half ago on how AOC was crying or was bullied from turning her vote no to present. And we all saw that video. We all saw where Ice Cream Nancy Pelosi, wearing her pink dress, was somehow berating, doing something like that. We were seeing some action in the corner, and here was AOC just crying, doing this, doing that, putting on some kind of show. And yeah, I thought it was BS. But here's what's real BS. This word salad that she gave on MSNBC. If you don't know what I'm talking about, everyone check out this message. And look, 1,000 points to you, not $1,000, 1,000 points to anyone. If they can clarify what the heck AOC is saying here about macro and micro, about how she changed her no vote to a present, because in my opinion, she's deflecting and avoiding responsibility from changing her no vote to present in regards to funding, for more funding for the Iron Dome in Israel. So let's go ahead and talk about this. Here, everyone, if we had to sit through it, if everyone else had to sit through it, you're going to sit through it too. Let's play that video.
It's something that has been obviously very difficult, but that is what happened that day.
Congresswoman, the question that a lot of people asked me to ask you this is, was it worth doing present? Because it didn't really satisfy anyone. The supporters of Israel are mad at you for not voting for it. Critics of Israel are mad at you for not voting against it. Do you regret that?
You know, it is something that I weigh because there's always the macro and then there's the micro. And in the macro of narrative, of politics, of national impact, you know, I probably should have just gone with my value. But in the macro, which would be to vote no. But in the micro, I do believe that this created a window in our community to be able to bring all folks to the table, because my great fear is that we are going to import the same sort of contention around this issue, and we can have a progressive movement that defends Palestinian human rights, that is Muslim, Christian, Jewish. So in the micro, I believe that it created a window of opportunity for us in the Bronx. But in the macro, it was very difficult, yes.
Okay, so can I really quickly say two things? First of all, I had no idea AOC was a StarCraft player. That's literally the terminology that they use when talking about stuff, so that's interesting.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
That apparently she's a StarCraft player.
So yeah, so
because that's
macro
how
and micro.
Yeah, that's all about that game's all about macro and micro. So that's good on her for having keeping her nerves fresh. In a weird way, I want to just say this to continue from our previous show yesterday. Christian cinema, that's still better than what you've been doing. That's what I wanted to say.
Here's something too. You know, it took you a while to get it. Like,
that took me a minute.
Because here's the thing. Since then, like, look, I don't want to bring this up from the past, but you know, there was this whole thing where, you know, when Tulsi Gabbard was still in Congress, when she voted present in regards to the impeachment of Donald Trump, everyone, including AOC, was also yelling and wagging their finger at her. How dare you vote present at such an important time? How dare you avoid responsibility? But now let's talk about Israel's defense. And this Iron Dome money that we're basically giving to Israel. Why do they need it? Why are we funding them? Why are we giving them our money, our resources for their war? Why? How come we're not seeing any pushback from our elected representatives? How come AOC, who actually ran on progressive values and actually called out Israel being an apartheid state, and actually called out Israel's policies, how come now AOC is all on board with being bullied or putting on the little song and dance, basically changing her no vote to a present vote? And now she's being held accountable from the progressive community, as she should, for this weak sauce response. And now she gives this answer about macro and micro. She didn't answer the question at all. She avoided all responsibility. If she truly was someone who wanted to bring the ruckus, if she truly was someone who actually cared about what's happening to the Palestinian people, if she truly was somebody that wanted to make sure that we have Medicare for all, student debt forgiveness, and UBI, AOC the coward would have actually not have been bullied into voting president, but instead, if she actually had a backbone, she would have kept her no vote. But for some reason, AOC was being yelled at by Nancy, and they put on this little show. So, hey, audience, let's have democracy in the chat. If you think AOC's tears were genuine, type 1. If you think it was nothing but show and just just fake, type 2, because I really have a hard time believing anything coming from AOC, especially after this, macro and micro. But before I bring my colleagues on board to even comment on this further, let's actually talk to somebody who actually have a video clip who's actually going to give us a real big insight to what the Iron Dome truly is. So here's Max Blumenthal from the Gray Zone. I think it's important that we hear his perspective because let's face it, he's not going to give you a word salad. Let's talk about this. Let's play this video.
The Iron Dome was developed with funding from the U.S. taxpayer. The U.S. taxpayer paid 50% of the R&D costs for the Iron Dome system, which was produced by Rafael, an Israeli arms company. So we were basically paying arms merchants in Israel. It's not a defensive system. It is a system designed to give Israel unlimited offensive capacity without the fear of any consequence. We know in any military conflict, when both sides have equal deterrent capacity, they tend to stand down or resort to diplomacy more quickly. And so when Israel gains such an outsized advantage, it slaughters entire families in the Gaza Strip. It killed 551 women and children in the 2014 assault on the Gaza Strip. Families were being targeted in multifamily homes just to get one so-called Hamas operative. And that really is thanks to the Iron Dome system.
Let's actually pause it right there. So right there. You heard it right there. There is a clear answer about what the Iron Dome truly is and the threat that it does pose to a lot of people living in Gaza on the West Bank. And it got an extra $1 billion defense funding from Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in many ways when she changed her no vote to president. She didn't bring the ruckus. She didn't raise any kind of alarms about how we are wasting our taxpaying dollars on this ridiculous Iron Dome funding for another country. How come we don't have that $1 billion for, schools or communities here that are struggling here in the United States?
Or like 10 aspirin tablets at a U.S. hospital.
Absolutely.
Oh, and just to be clear, I had looked for weapons manufacturer and weapons jobs in that area. Hadn't found any. Ran out of time. Martin just confirmed there are none. There's nothing like that in her district. So I just wanted to be clear on that. So
some pet project probably got threatened that she was working on, or maybe another thing that Nancy could have done was, we'll redistrict your district out of existence.
Yeah.
Because they're going to do that soon.
Yeah, because let's face it, when it comes down to standing up to Mama Bear, Baby Bear is going to be quiet about it. And, I'm glad you two brought it up on how you both felt that AOC was being genuine with those tears, because that doesn't inspire any kind of confidence amongst this future progressive movement if you're going to try and reform the Democratic Party. Because if you're going to be there crying like a little kid when you have a high seat of power, that doesn't inspire confidence for me to, tell people to go out and vote for the Democrats. It tells me that you're not ready for this job and that perhaps you've been winging it for a very long time. And I hate saying this because when AOC got elected into office, I was really excited. We were all excited. We remember 2018. I was really like, oh my goodness, progressives are getting seats of power. This was a huge deal. I want to be this. And again, I think we all remember, all of us do, including everyone watching in the live stream chat. All of us remember what we were feeling during that time. But now seeing AOC act like this and cry and put on the show and then say also words are violence and then show her own hypocrisy back and forth, has AOC just been winging it as she's going along, and she's been very lucky that no one really called her out early on in 2019, going into 2020. But here in 2021, we see her give us this BS answer of a word salad. And let's face it, she's inviting herself to really be ridiculed by everyone in the political spectrum, be they on the left, center, or on the right. AOC cried on the House floor and was bullied. We saw that. And if this was truly genuine, and it wasn't just for show, hey, Justice Democrats, brand new Congress, vote blue no matter who, and all those cul-de-sac progressives, and everyone else that has a coveted blue check mark. Good luck in convincing people to turn out to vote for Democrats in the midterms or in the presidential election cycle of 2024. Because as where I'm standing right now, if there's no accountability amongst the progressive leadership in the United States Senate and House, I have no reason at all to carry water for the Democrats. And that's why I'm going to vote third party.
Yeah,
Okay, I would just say as a last note, I think we have an updated terminology from this story we should be using from now on. It's no longer mama bear and baby bear. It's now macro bear and micro bear.
I love it.
Yeah, macro bear. Real quick, I did want to end this on a humorous note. We actually got a tweet from Glenn Greenwald. If we could show the tweet real quick and then play the video, and then that'll be the final word on this.
Wait, we got a tweet?
Yeah. Well, no, Glenn didn't tweet at us, but this is we got
my hopes up.
Yeah. We have a tweet from Glenn Greenwald. We finally got a direct explanation from AOC about why she switched her vote from no to present on $1 billion more for Israel's Iron Dome, and how she can justify twice voting present after castigating others as cowards for doing so. Thank you, AOC, for clearing this up. So let's play this comedic video. I found it a little hilarious, so let's end this on a funny note.
Oh, absolutely. And I do believe there is something to be said about this sort of, how do I put this, willing ignorance, right? This sort of duality between that consciousness of being aware in such manner and yet readily marginalizing that intersectionality. It's very profound. These conversations are intrinsically multifaceted, right? There are different angles to be looking at this from, and it's crucial to juxtapose that contrast within those realms of varying perspectives. And it's sort of the case where, are we asking ourselves the right questions, or are we all just sort of victim to the cause itself? It's suffocating, to be quite frank. It's paralyzing. But having these conversations is extremely, extremely vital in fundamental change. Oh, absolutely.
Okay, pause it.
Say, these are the
spot on impression.
These are my least favorite kind of people to talk to, because all I can do, how do you respond to that except going, well, you really didn't say anything?
Yeah.
Well, that's why when I was watching the interview with AOC, I was like, what's the follow-up question to that? And also, the other thought that I had that I totally forgot about until just now is, didn't she know she was going to be asked about that? Don't you have something better prepared?
Yeah.
For
maybe
an interview.
Maybe she I don't know. Hey, audience, here, let's get democracy in as a final thing for this story. If I'm wrong about this, type 1 if you think AOC's just been winging it for this long. Type 2 if you think, well, this is just how she acts. So,
what is the distinction?
Word salad.
Because I wing a lot of things. I don't necessarily see anything.
It's like, all right, wait, guys. If you think this looks like a square, type 1. If it looks like a square, type 2.
I come on this show knowing what we're going to be talking about, so I prepare myself for it. I go through life winging most everything, including things that I teach, classes, all of that, because I teach several times a day. And so there are certain circumstances where you wing things and certain circumstances where you come prepared and you come correct. And she really missed the mark on it. That's all.
Can you imagine like a fitness magazine approaches you, somehow they get in your house, they break in to interview you, surprise, and they're like, what is your philosophy on physical exercise? And you're just you just word salad.
Yeah,
it's
I have no idea.
You should probably know how to answer that.
Yeah.
You shouldn't even think.
That's what I'm speaking to. It's just I know my job so well, and again, I know that she's a younger congresswoman, but you know why you did what you did, and I feel like you ought to at least know your bullshit excuse for why you did it.
Yeah, true.
Right? When you lied to your parents, you had a good reason.
Yeah.
I mean, not always. I mean, usually not. Let's be real.
But here's the thing. We're seeing AOC respond, and when she's put on pressure, when the spotlight's put on her, she doesn't know how to answer directly. And that's going to be a problem for progressives going into the midterm election cycle, especially if they're with the Democratic Party.
Okay, you know what video you should have pulled up? That would have been much better than that guy who did a good job doing the word salad. It's that little kid There, what do you want to be when you grow up? He's like,
oh, that's right. Oh, yeah. And he's like, no. He's like, no. Have you ever wanted to? Yeah, I forget what it is. Yeah, but anyways, we should move on to our next story. So